Thanks for joining me. It's TMI, and we're going to be starting the discussion quite early. And our first discussion will be on the PDP G5 governors meetings, implications of outcome. And discussing this with me, starting from my extreme left, I have the immediate past chairman of ASU Uniben chapter, also the HOD of chemistry department in the University of Benin, and he is Professor Julius Iyasele. Thanks for coming, Julius.
Yeah, thank you, Philip, for having me. Good morning, viewers.
And next to him is an erudite legal practitioner, Emmanuel Obakwalo. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians.
Well, as the show progresses, we could be opportune to also enjoy the presence of the human rights activist in Solomon Idiogbe. Well, let's quickly look at the issue about the PDP G5 governors meetings. They've been holding a series of meetings, and you agree with me that there's been this rift, in the party, PDP, and this seems to be giving a very tiny window for the presidential candidate of the PDP to reconcile quickly with the G5 governors, looking at where we are at present. Now, what do you make of this development? Because this seems not to be healthy for democracy.
Yeah, you are saying that it's not healthy, but I'm saying it's healthy. The standard, there's the standard of human beings. We should all be able to stand up to our actions. We should be able to own up to whatever we do. That is what is happening in the very now. PDP had a constitution. We all knew before all of this started that it was the turn of the Southerners to produce the presidential candidate for PDP. But then, manipulations, as we have always known, by factors, from an ethnic class, and they were able to, of course, go above that, vacate that position, and now they threw it open and asked that anybody can contest. But however, whichever region wins, the party chairmanship must come from the other region. That was the gentleman agreement they had. And then, as fate will have it, Tambuwal has stepped down for Atiku, and then Atiku at the end carried the day and have won the election, and became the presidential flag bearer for PDP. And then the next was that Ayu should resign as the chairman of the party because he comes from the same region with the presidential flag bearer Atiku. But then, you see, like I said here, I said somewhere that there's this aunt that said the parents sent him to war and told him that at war, if they catch him, he shouldn't bring back head home. And so Ayu has decided to stick to that position, and now said nothing will remove him from that position. He has tested, the sweet pie, and is no more parting ways with that office. And then the next thing is that, of course, like we have always learned or advised that people should learn to protest. And then some governors are now protesting that I see those governors as righteous people with conscience. Do you understand? And so they are doing the needful, what is necessary in the very now, to at least criticize what is going on in PDP.
Okay.
And it is very good, though. It is very good for this country. It's very good for democracy. That people should understand that when we take decision, you must abide by the decision.
Okay. In one of the meetings held, the political parties, some chieftains of other parties, were also seeking ways to have a synergy with these governors. And being that they are from the PDP and also doing this, what do you think about this development? Because there's this impression that it could lead to litigations. If in the long run they are not able to reconcile with the presidential candidate of the PDP, and then they now support another candidate in another party and still remaining in PDP, don't you think this could be seen as anti-party activity that could lead to litigations? Emmanuel?
I don't think so. just now, we find ourselves in a situation where we now repeat history. Let's go back to memory lane. When President late President Umar Yar'Adua emerged as a PDP candidate, the then chairman of PDP was a northerner. And the man said, no, you must step down and allow a southerner to come in. Unity in diversity. That is the phrase that binds us. And we saw the moral aspect of the then president. Today, in 2015, we saw a group of G5 governors who were in disagreement with the then president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. And before you know, they pitched tents with the APC. And we know how that election went. The very just now, we have another G5, in quotes, the righteous men, who are now saying, no, we had a gentleman agreement, let us stick to that. And somebody said, no, the person is now quoting the PDP constitution, quoting some relevant laws to back his immorality. Somebody that came on air to say, if this thing goes this way, this is what I will do. Nobody put him under any compulsion. He was not forced to do that or to say that. But he said it. Now, the thing has gone the way you once prophesied. Do like you said. The man is now saying no. The man is now quoting laws. The man is now pitching tents because the man is now enjoying the luxury of the office of the chairman of the People's Democratic Party. And he does not want to give way. And that's why some of the aggrieved governors are now saying, if you have the power, suspend us. Suspend me. Visit the law harshly on me. The same laws you are quoting, visit it on me. And here we are. So the governors would want to toe the line of the then 5 governors who also went against then President Goodluck Jonathan.
Okay, but this is a dicey time, and it won't be right sensically for any party to suspend such big wigs of the party. But looking at this aspect, I'm criticizing this aspect where you are in a party, for instance, and then you are clamoring for another candidate to win the election that your party has already fed a candidate into. Isn't this anti-party if it happens?
It is not. And that's why
what is the law saying in that regard? Are you saying the law is silent?
The law is silent with regard, the law, even the courts, will tell you that there are issues that deserve, when it relates to political parties, they deserve political answers to questions to be asked. The law says so. And the courts, oftentimes, in judgments, have come out to say, no, political situation, political solution, political answer will be better to give to this question that is being asked. So if the courts, in its wisdom, can come and do that and say that, then I think political solution it is.
Okay.
Now, these persons are aggrieved to the extent that 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, nobody is saying anything. Instead, the other party is not shifting ground. I think it's a matter of shifting ground.
Yes,
and when they refuse to shift ground, these persons too will hold on to what?
Reports have it that the G5 governors termed integrity group have already started saying that, well, there's still a window for the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, to really reconcile with them. Basically, they have conditions like what is already in public domain. But for the sake of morality, isn't it fair, instead of scuttling or going against a party in this sensitive period, instead of campaigning or trying to support another if it happens or if that's what they are looking into, isn't it fair for the chieftains or the members of such party to defect rather than be in the party and still seem to be causing rips in all of these issues?
Some of those persons represent the soul of the party. Some of those persons in 2015 were the one, they almost paid the supreme price to continue to hoist the flag of that particular party. and those are the persons you want to. For instance, let you cite a name. You want Wike, for instance, to resign from PDP. He said, no. You know, I spent all my money for that party. I groomed, nursed that party. You now want him to leave? No. In fact, Philip, you know that there's no party. You don't have parties in Nigeria now.
But it seems like a personal fight. Some will term it as a personal fight. Just because I was not given the opportunity to be the presidential candidate, yes. Then I have to ensure that the presidential candidate do not win in the election. Don't you think that's how it seems like?
It is not. First, Wike is crying blue mother because he's been cheated left, right, and center. The first cheating happened at Eagle Square during the elections of the primaries. Isn't it, where elections were going on at about critical time during that electionary process, the Atiku stormed out of Eagle Square, and then they claimed it was time for prayers, and then they returned later for Tambuwa to now say he wanted to speak again, and then he was only the governor who had the opportunity to speak again. When you have spoken before, you have made your speeches as a presidential candidate, you are not supposed to come back again. But then he was given an opportunity to speak because he wanted to do damages. And at the end of the day, he spoke and asked all his candidates to now pitch tent with Atiku. And that is how Wike was defeated. And remember that Tambuwa and Wike were best of friends, but it's just that Wike did not remember that blood is thicker than water, and so he kept on with Tambuwa. That is one. Two.
But don't forget that politics is all a matter of interest.
That's what I'm telling you now.
And so if you have to figure that in, yes, Wike should have expected this.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you.
So it shouldn't be a surprise.
We are factoring it in. That blood is thicker. The blood is the interest. Is thicker than water. Do you understand? Secondly, another anger, if that is anything to go by, of why Tambuwa stepped down for Atiku about the blood is thicker than water, then Wike is also very angry that his own blood person, who is now Okowa, now had to, after they have been holding meetings together, that it is time for the South to produce presidential candidates, went behind all of them, and that is backstabbing, my dear brother, went behind all of them to now accept to become a vice president hopeful to Atiku. And you know, eventually they started wearing Okowa with all manners of Igbo toga and all that is an Igbo man from the southeast, because as it were, Atiku had made a statement before that it's only the southeast that will make him step down. Do you understand? And so just to, you know, put on that complexion, they have now nominated Okowa to now become his spare
running mate
for that, running mate for that very office. So this Wike now, this is annoying.
Okay.
How could you have done this?
Okay.
Tambo has stepped down for his brother. You understand? Because he want to perpetrate themselves in power. Then you, who we have been holding meeting together that this should not hold, you now went behind and then accepted that position. So Wike and the G5, they are very, very angry. You know, it became very clear by yesterday when Dankwabo, former governor of Gombe State, who had been in G5, a member of the G5, and now parted ways with them now. And by yesterday, he was receiving Atiku contingent that had come to Gombe for campaign. You see what is happening. Nigeria is returning back to the... And when we talk about in this country that the only way to move forward is restructuring, you see naturally the whole, when it comes to their interests, they restructure themselves. But when it comes to the governance of Nigeria, because of the larger cake for them to share, they refuse restructuring. This country, like I've always said,
it will be better. It will be better. Now, let's get your opinion too. You are a custodian of the law, and well, by the constitution of the parties, and what has happened so far. Do you see the machinations, or rather the meetings being held by the G5? Do you see their ideas in this regard as what will benefit the people? Is it in the common good of Nigerians or personal gains?
Well, you cannot remove the fact that there are benefits, there are personal benefits. You cannot remove that fact. Because politics is all about benefits, all about interest, just like we've agreed just now. But looking at what transpired, I think they have the right to be aggrieved. However, many a time I've asked questions. One of the G5 governors, that the person of the governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, you were the chairman of the committee to decide which way the coin should swing to. And you people came up and said, let it be thrown open for everybody to contest. When you knew, ab initio, that it ought to go to the southern part of Nigeria. See where we have landed now with the idea of throwing it open. And now, if you watch the body language of the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, and you also vis-a-vis marry it with that of the chairman, Iyocha Ayu, you discover that there was an agreement even before the convention took place.
Was the agreement written?
No. And now,
so if it's not written, does it not mean that there is no local standard on that in the law court?
The agreement I mean just now is the agreement between the person of the presidential candidate and the chairman.
Okay.
Outside the constitution of the party. Because PDP constitution provides for rotation. As a northerner had it, and a northerner is on seat, it is just, it is fair, it is reasonable, it is commonsensical that the power should go to the south. And now it has gotten to the turn of the south, and somebody came up with a political arithmetic to send away the southerners because he believes that blood is thicker than water. Then what about the phrase that is binding us as Nigerians? Unity in diversity. Where is that unity now?
But does it really matter being a southerner or not being a southerner when it comes to issues of electing a president? Does it really matter?
Let me answer this question.
I'll come back to you. I'll come back. Does it really matter?
It matters. Nigeria is on a tripod. Nigeria, we were told that Nigeria is one because of that phrase, unity in diversity. But when it comes to actions and inactions that we've witnessed in this country, when it comes to appointment, we saw the loop-sided appointment.
Okay, but is it stated in the Constitution?
That's what? That whether it must go
rotational presidency.
It is not a constitutional matter.
Okay. All right, we'll leave that. Let's get your reaction on this.
Excuse me. That has crystallized a long time ago. Somebody instituted Federal Character Commission. Somebody instituted that so that you can have representation from everywhere. Even as at the time we went to school, at that young age, there's this quota system to have representation from everywhere. You are going to school now, you find that a boy in Benin here now, who is from Jigawa State or Nasarawa State, because they term his state from an educationally disadvantaged state, might get admission even if it's called less than a Benin boy who is in the same primary school or secondary school with him here. You understand? So he might get admission into a university, even Uniben, before an Edo boy. You understand? Because of quota system. Because he comes from educationally disadvantaged states. And unfortunately, these educationally disadvantaged states are the ones producing presidency for this country. And you wonder, don't you need education to reason? And so that is where we are as a country. I talked about Federal Character Commission, representation from everywhere. So it's understandable that when you have a president from one region, then the next, the chairmanship of the party should come from the other region. It is there.
But can it be challenged? Can it be challenged in the law? Because we just got a statement from the legal practitioner.
Yeah, we have countries
by implication, Emmanuel Obakpolo is saying that it cannot be challenged.
We have countries with unwritten constitution.
You agree to that, Emmanuel?
Yes. Some people are administered in the north with Sharia law and all that, and these things are working out in those places. You understand? Isn't the same presidential candidate is the one that says, don't vote for Tinubu, don't vote for Obi, because there are no Northerners.
All right, I'll come back to you. The business of the electoral process is for all and sundry, and we're going to be taking a short break, after which we continue expanding the frontiers of this discussion. Do stay.